Hi everybody, thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about just where I live. So I work for an organisation called Worth Unlimited. We're a national charity, but we're actually very small. The branch I co-lead is in East Birmingham and North Solihull. It's a housing estate with lots of tower blocks. But my husband and I, we chose to intentionally come to Hodge Hill, to this part of the Firs and Bromford estate where we live. And it's a place we've been now for 8 years, and we absolutely think it's the best place on earth, even though other people may think it isn't. So, fashion is at the heart of our culture. Some young people engage with it, and some won't. And we know what marketing does. Branding often can make you feel inadequate if you don't have the latest item, gadget, or product. And young people feel under pressure to have the right trainers, see how many likes they can get on Instagram. So why Listen Threads? Listen Threads is a social enterprise set up by young women, and they are the social cause of our enterprise. So what we want to do through the enterprise is listen to the voices of young women and value the stories they tell. So for every T-shirt you buy, we can provide 1 hour of face-to-face work with young women. And what we've seen in the enterprise is that the increase of confidence and self-esteem through being part of the enterprise is kind of counterintuitive to these kind of pressure that the fashion industry is putting on young people. And again, a huge difference is that the focus is on production, not consumption. What I'm going to do next is hand over to Chloe. Chloe is one of the young people I work with, and she's going to tell you her experience of being part of the hub where we work and how she actually co-founded the brand herself. Come on up, Chloe.
Hello. Someone told me about the hub when I was 13. I went to see what it was all about. I got involved with the girls' group, and I've stayed there ever since. I used to be cheeky, and at my worst I would smoke and drink outside the local shops and cause trouble. I was really angry as my mum and dad were split up. My mum lost her way. For a year I had to live with my nan and really hated my parents. The staff at the hub knew I was troubled and always there for me. For the last 5 years I've met with a youth worker almost every week. I made up with my mum. Just as I felt like my life was back on track, I found out I was pregnant. It was shock and my head was a mess, but the youth workers got me through it. I've had a beautiful baby girl, and having her changed my life. When I first had her, I hardly left the house, but still went to girls' group. It's the only thing got me out the house. Looking back, I might have had depression, but my youth worker Janie was encouraging us to think about whether we could do it in, I can't pronounce the word, enterprise. I didn't feel passionate about anything. My focus at the time was just being a mum. It wasn't until Jan asked me what we serious about and something switched. We realised we was all into fashion. This was the moment Listen Threads clothing line was born. Listen Threads has helped me in so many ways. It has made me think about my future. I want to get some more qualifications and start a business course so I can learn more about how to run Listen Threads. It has definitely made me more confident. I've done loads of presentations which I thought I could never do. One of them got me £200, which we got our first sliders with. I've become passionate about voices of other young women being heard the same way mine has. The business will provide work experience and placement for young women similar to myself. They will be able to connect with a youth worker who will support them through everything, which I know can help them with their lives.
Great. Who needs me when you can have it from the voice of a young person? So I guess the enterprise really is just got a huge amount just to do with relational youth work. We're there day in, or week in, week out, most days actually, building relationships with young people. Now, I guess you've heard the story, and now I have to do the theory bit. So I guess one of the really significant things for us is that we use an asset-based approach, and we really believe that each young person has a gift and a skill they can offer the enterprise. So this was just written by the Church Urban Funds. It says, everybody has something to give to those around them. Every single individual, regardless of where they live, how much they earn, or their academic achievements, has something to offer. This may be a particular passion, such as looking after children or playing music, an area of expertise such as local history or business accounting, or a specific skill such as plumbing, cooking, or event organising. And so these are all things known as assets, and they're placed alongside other kinds of assets, which are physical, financial, cultural, or social resources that may be present within a community. And I think that's what's happened with Listen Threads. Each young person has come along and given us the skills, gifts and talents that they offer. And I guess one of the things, I talk about it very brightly, but actually what we've done a huge amount of mentoring. And often young people, you say, what are you passionate about? What are your skills? And they go, don't know. And, that is really common for us. So I don't want to avoid that at all. But it's through the mentoring and what we call barrier removal where we can just really unlock some of those gifts, skills and passions. Again, the National Youth Work Agency are saying that youth workers are well placed to do social enterprise with young people, and we can help build partnerships and social capital and encourage that self-belief in young people. So what's next? I guess this is the plan. We want to develop our worth saying range, which is as well as Listen Threads. And so we've got Inspire Hope and Find Your Happy. We've just started doing numbers for small children. So if they have a 5th birthday, they can have a T-shirt with a 5 on the front. We've also done a little bit of trading for uniforms. So we've done youth clubs who want leaders' hoodies and T-shirts and things like that. So we want to develop that a little bit more. Our biggest order was for the Body Shop at Home consultancy, and that was 100 T-shirts, and they all went to a T-shirt. All wore their T-shirts to this huge conference that was to do with the Body Shop. We want young people to further develop their business skills, and we want more young people on work experience with us. So one of the wonderful things about Listen Threads has just been the surprises. And I think sometimes as youth workers, we can get a bit constrained by the targets we might need to meet, depending on how our funding streams look. But where this project started is nowhere near where it is now. So when I was doing this project, saying, girls, come on, you can be entrepreneurs, let's give you an entrepreneurial experience, it was just these glazed over looks of just going, no. And again, Chloe fell pregnant, and the concentration, rightly so, was upon what does it mean to be a mum. So we didn't do enterprise at all. And now we've got to where we are. Again, we've done learning about fair trade and ethical production. And I guess for me as a Christian youth worker, it oozes theological themes. So I've thought a lot more personally about the environment and green theology. And, the key thing that the girls know in this enterprise, we're not Primark. And that's why a T-shirt costs £12, not £2. And we want to kind of listen to the producers of our cotton so that right along the trading line, we're being as ethical and listening as much as we possibly can. I don't know what your experience of youth work is, but the young people, they literally turn up every single week without fail. And I'm kind of shocked even now by the culture of communication. So I will have a text, a WhatsApp, a Facebook, anything going, I can't come, is it on? And I think just within our little group, the sense of community is really, really strong. And yeah, I think some of the more structural church might have something to learn from our tiny little group and how we do community together. Young people have slotted into roles very easily and are keen to fulfil them. Again, that's something I could never have kind of orchestrated. There's one young person that's brilliant with the print press. Chloe loves to sit and weed out the vinyl. There's lots of processes, and the young people just have found them very, very naturally. Young people are coming up with their own designs for the enterprise to sell. We've got a new range dropping, hopefully at the end of this month. One of our boys is producing something for Gay Pride, and so we're going to have love with rainbow letters streamed across a T-shirt, which again is just about our values of inclusivity and valuing everybody's skills, gifts and talents. And a kind of complete sort of offshoot really is young people are also learning theology. So they're deepening their own theology in an informal environment. And some of them are getting involved in a local expression of church, which we just started at Easter, which we call Fab Church, which stands for Furs and Bromford, where we live. It's also known as Food and Booze Church. It's also known as Fun and Banter Church. So you can call it what you will. But again, because there's a real sense of community within the enterprise, there's going, I can experience this somewhere else. So we've had young people in a kind of little church in our shop front in the youth centre. And I genuinely not really sure, I'm never sure whether what I'm really doing is pioneering. I just am called to the Furs and Bromford. I feel called to the neighbourhood that I live and work in. But what I really love is Johnny Baker's analogy of gift. Mission begins with and in God. Mission is the overflow of God's self-diffusive love, creating, redeeming, reaching out to, challenging and healing the world. It is given through love and not earned. And mission is joining with this overflow of gift, receiving and giving away to others. And what he goes on to say is about these strings attached. So when I talk about the project that went wrong 3 years ago, this was this gift I was trying to give, but the strings were attached because these kids had to get through an accreditation, which we didn't really do very well at all. And again, this whole sense of mission, it's the gift that keeps moving. The gift that I don't know where it's going to go. At the moment, there's an enterprise, but it's not my enterprise. It's the enterprise of the young people. And they will take it to where it needs to be. My role is just simply to accept that this is part of God's mission, and we're all part of that wherever we are in our faith journey.